Season 4. I wrote down 3 for some reason, and I fucked that up in the last one. I ain't fucking it up this time. Episode 6, Sanguinarium. So we've got some liposuction gone wrong here in the opening.
Yeah.
And holy hell. So, yeah, that's some nasty stuff for sure. And, you know, I mean, this is terrifying, right? Like this is why you have to take this shit so seriously. People have to have credentials, and they have to have, like, medical insurance and all of this stuff. Like, they have to be looked after in every way, because a doctor, you put every bit of your trust,
all of it,
into this. Like, I'm putting you under, and you could wake up when I could, or never could wake up, or whatever the fuck. They can do whatever they want to you while you're asleep. It's wild stuff. And you could wake up with no arms, no legs, no friggin', they can do anything.
Yeah.
And this guy just goes to town. So the one thing I definitely want to point out here that I find to be absolutely asinine and ridiculous, to the point where I was having a hard time, especially since I said, like, okay, if this happens again at this point, I can't anymore. And the fact that this doctor's office, which I think is in the hospital, but this specific area there's no fucking way that they would allow them to keep operating. After the first incident, maybe they'd get rid of that one doctor. But after the second incident, they would have to shut it down. They'd have to do a thorough investigation of everyone involved. There's no way. I think it happens like 4 times by the end of this.
It happens a lot.
And I'm just like, after I think it was after the second one, I was like, okay, if they do it again and they allow them to open and continue to keep doing patients, that is just as much the FBI's fault as it is the doctors at this point.
Yeah.
That is like gross negligence.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely could have, shut it down, and then the guy could have been killing people outside of the hospital, so, they could still have something to hunt and go after.
Yeah.
But, obviously, the setting of the hospital is, big for this episode.
Because of the writing. Because that's the way they wrote it. So they could do it however they want. But it's just the believability of them keeping it open while this continues to keep happening is just
unbelievable.
No fucking way would they allow this place to operate. So I just wanted to get that out up front. So yeah, that was crazy to me. So we got some pentagrams on the floor, which Mulder pieces together. They always do that where they have the 5 points and then they have to draw the lines.
Yeah, but in this one, he draws it with the blood that's already on the ground, and it's
way to screw with the crime scene.
Watching him thanks Mulder, good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really funny.
That's bad detective work.
I like in this one that there's a bit of a misdirect with the nurse, because at one point, you're suspicious of her because she's putting leeches onto a patient's stomach in the shape of a pentagram, but she's a witch that's trying to actually do a protective spell, I suppose, and stop what's happening, which I thought was interesting to throw that in there too. This
is pretty common with these things. It's they always make the witch look like they're the bad ones, and then it's always found out that they're the ones that are trying to help. This is a pretty common trope. This is the actress that I've seen in 100 fucking things. I'm pretty sure this is the actress, if I remember correctly. She's the waitress in the opening of Natural Born Killers.
Oh, yeah, maybe. I've seen her in a ton of stuff as well. She's especially in the 90s, I feel like she's a really familiar face.
Yeah.
The villain in this is from Twin Peaks. I always forget, it's not Benjamin Horne. Not Jerry Horne. Benjamin Horne. So he's Audrey's father in Twin Peaks. So it's cool to see him in this because we have had 2 other Twin Peaks people, I believe, so far. We have
makes sense, right?
The little man from another place, the little dancing man, and then I always forget his name, but he's from the second season that Cooper's going after. That's the new villain. It's
I said his name.
You did say his name. Anyway, so those are the only 3 that I think we've gotten so far. So I want there to be more Twin Peaks people. But yeah, it does make sense.
Yeah, David Duchovny was in Twin Peaks.
Yes.
And Twin Peaks inspired X-Files, right?
Yes.
So it would make sense that there was some crossover there. So there you go. Mulder seems to be, for some reason, even though there's lots of deaths and nothing that would make you want to do anything with this stuff, he seems to be... This is such like an abandoned subplot, I feel.
Oh, yeah.
But he keeps like looking at his face and like looking if he could perfect any little thing.
Bad. I don't like that he's like being hypercritical of his face in this.
Yeah.
Because we see him. He's looking at his nose a bunch, and he even has like a computer software where he's trying to like. I think it's the same software that they use at the hospital to see like what he would look like with a different, like not to have a big nose, which is so dumb. I love big noses.
I'm surprised that they went that route. Typically, it's the woman.
But Scully's already like... I mean, both of them are already super attractive. Right. So it's very unbelievable no matter which one. But I feel like if Scully was being like that, it would just be like...
It's not unbelievable.
No, okay, I shouldn't say it's not unbelievable.
How many people are gorgeous that want to go that feel like... I mean, I feel like the most insecure people I've ever met in my life are the prettiest. It's like the people who I've met who I personally don't think are all that attractive. They're not very self-conscious. They're just kind of like, yeah, fuck it. I don't look good. I know it. I don't give a shit. Yeah. But the people who like, that's all they have in their mind because it's all anyone ever focuses on. It becomes their like identity. And then they start obsessing over like, well, what if it's not good enough? Right. So they get like very fixated on their appearance because everyone else in their life is fixated on their appearance. And so like every time I've met a girl that's like, like crazy insecure, I'm always looking at her like, there's literally nothing, like there's nothing wrong with you.
It totally depends on the person. So I guess you're right. Maybe unbelievable wasn't the word I was looking for,
no,
but just like for the audience to watch them and be like, like what?
Everyone thinks they have a flaw.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, plastic surgery is such a wild thing that we do. That humans are like, I'm going to change my face. Like, it's crazy to really when you think about it.
Plastic surgery people are entitled to do what they want, for sure. But plastic surgery should be around for, people who get into car wrecks or people who have tumors and it, like, screws up a whole side of their face when they have to remove something or, like, part of their body and they feel, like, insecure about these like huge malformations because of something that happened to them or whatever. But I don't know. I think it's fine that it exists to a degree, but of course everything in life is about balance, and these people go way overboard and they become like freaks.
I mean, I think anybody should be able to do any kind of body modification that they want. Like, I don't see anything wrong with like changing parts of your body. And even, if you don't have any like physical reason, like, or medical reason to get plastic surgery, if it's just purely aesthetic, I think people should totally be allowed to do that. But it definitely can become addictive. That's more 100. Where it's like an interesting phenomenon because people get really addicted to going under the knife, which makes me think of Repo, the genetic opera.
Sure.
But yeah, we don't see like a lot of that in here because like the patients are, they're in there for various things. Like the woman that has like the leeches on her is in there for like a skin peel. And her death is really gnarly actually because the guy like goes in with the laser and like lasers through her jaw, and it's like you see all her teeth and it's messed up.
Also, like one of them pours acid on someone's face too.
Oh, that's the one I'm thinking of. Actually, that's the one I'm thinking of. I don't know if that's the skin peel woman. I think that's a different person.
I think those are two different people.
Yeah, but either way, the laser through the jaw is messed up, and
it's like a saw trap.
Yeah, and then the acid is the one I'm thinking of, where her like face melted, and that was like really graphic for the show. Yeah, I was pretty shocked by that.
Me too. Really wild. Like that's what I was saying at the beginning. This is a pretty gruesome episode.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, one of the more horror-like episodes. This is like Dr. Giggles or The Dentist, but darker. Yeah, so the bad guy can like teleport objects into people's bodies.
He's like a warlock or something. He does magic.
Yeah. The person like isn't it the witch that like coughs up all the needles?
She coughs up staples.
Or staples. Yeah.
Which is really
they don't look like
messed up.
staples though. When he picks them up, it looks like a little tack, like a little
maybe
nail.
they're like not, because they're not like bent. I don't know how medical staples work. Like I know in a regular stapler they're like bent. You know,
they
you
look
put
like
them
they
in
have
there.
the little end that like you hammer.
I have no idea.
They look like
I know
nails.
they looked like needles or nails for sure.
I thought that they were
But
hypodermic needles at first.
Yeah, they definitely said that they're staples. And he
That's
also
what it sounded
teleports. Pretty sure they say staples. But he teleports like medical tools into this woman, and he's like, "Thank God they were sanitized or whatever." And it's like,
so
bro,
crazy.
what? So he's got magic powers because he's like super old too, and he's able to just like rejuvenate himself by changing his face.
Right. Yeah, because he like cuts someone's face off and puts it on his, because you know that's how that works. Just like in Face Off with Nicolas Cage and John Travolta, you just take your skin off your face and put it on someone else's, and they have your face. That's how it works. Don't worry about your bone structure or any of that stuff under there. It's all just gonna look like
the
the
skin
same.
will look the same on everyone.
100%. But yeah, the whole like stuff inside the body, that was reminding me of 2 episodes ago, was it? I think it was 2 episodes ago, with the guy who had like the blow dart gun in his throat.
Oh yeah.
And
he
was able
pulled
to
it
like
out.
pull it out.
Mm-hmm. This also reminded me also of Toombs a little bit because of how old he was. He's like from like the 20s or something. Although I guess Toombs is like older than that, but anyway.
Yeah. I mean, if he could fit that thing all the way down his throat like that, I feel like he could easily... no, we're not going to go there. I was going to make a really bad joke there, but we're just going to say that. So Mulder, who I would think would know how to pronounce this, pronounces it Sam Hain.
He does.
I think he's been watching too much Halloween,
Weirdly,
too.
I feel like they've said this before in the show, and I thought they said it correctly. Maybe
Samhain?
they haven't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that they talked about it before in like some other episode about Wiccans, and I don't know though.
I don't know, but
But he says Sam Hain.
I
which
feel
is
like
funny.
he would know. Although, I mean, if he's just reading text and you
Yeah.
never hear it pronounced,
Yeah.
hell yeah, of course I would say Sam Hain. Why wouldn't I? I said Sam Hain my entire childhood because that's how Dr. Loomis pronounced it when it was written on the freaking chalkboard,
Yeah.
right?
You would think that one of those texts would have like a pronunciation though, especially if they're like.
Yeah, I don't know how
I mean-
we know that's how it's pronounced. I'm sure there's got to be
be-
some kind of...
well, because
that's
it's-
the language.
Yeah.
What is that language? It's Druids.
Gaelic,
What do
maybe.
Druids speak?
Gaelic.
Gaelic?
Maybe, or some version of it. So, and that still is around today, and people speak it. I could be wrong on that language connection, but that's what I thought. So we definitely know how it's pronounced. It's not like I always laugh
close,
about like
though.
Latin pronunciation, because I'm like, how do we know that's what they were saying? Because Latin is like so old.
It's like a
Although
dead
I don't know,
language
maybe
almost.
Gaelic is, maybe there's an older version. I mean, there's older versions of every language, obviously. Like if I heard this woman, as like a side note, on TikTok that was like, she was like reading or like an old English text, like how you would say it in English, like in old English. It sounded so so different. It
like a
was
different
really
language.
really weird.
I don't get it. Sam Hain saw win. It's not even close. Like when I'm like looking at it, like obviously the letters, because the S is still the same, but then everything else is different.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably like
It's
there
almost
might
like
be-
the M was flipped upside down, right? SAM is Sam, SAW is Saw.
it's Irish Gaelic.
Okay.
Gaelic has like a different alphabet though.
Is there any other kind of Gaelic than Irish?
Maybe.
You said Irish Gaelic.
The Irish alphabet,
thought it was all
or
Irish.
Ibetir, has 18 letters A through U and is written in Gaelic type.
So they're just like, fuck W
So,
and everything beyond it?
Yeah, traditional Irish alphabet.
Oh, V actually would be V, W, X, Y, Z. All of that shit's
Looks
just
like that.
nah.
So the Samhain, that spelling is the English spelling of this alphabet.
I mean, I get that.
So they have different
because they didn't have
pronunciations.
because they don't have a W.
Yeah, Gaelic type with Roman type equivalents and the additional. Anyway, it's interesting.
Yeah,
Latin
it
script
is
has
interesting.
been the writing system used to write Irish since the 5th century, when it replaced, I don't know how you say that, Ogham, which
Ogham.
are the runes,
Ogham.
which is just that. They're just the lines
Do they have thorn?
like that,
Do they have the thorn
which is
one?
so weird.
Anyway, they can't see what
Anyway,
we're looking
sorry.
at. All right,
Like
enough of
that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's
All
just lines. It's crazy.
It's just lines. Isn't all words?
Yeah, they are.
Okay, so that's that.
That's that.
Yeah, it's a darker episode.
It's good.
I enjoyed it. And I will not be getting liposuction or rhinoplasty or any of those things. I might get my... Just kidding.